Hi, this is Doug from Unique Three-Phase. Now, a lot of you are probably clicking on this and you're wondering this is some kind of clickbait title where I'm trying to fool you or scam somebody. No, it's not actually. What this is I contacted ChuckE2009 on his email from the YouTube thing, and I did contact Steven Cox and I actually got an email through to him, and I told him, hey, tell Chucky about this, I'd like to give him an air compressor. Now, they both probably think this is a scam because who gives away an air compressor? But here's the deal. If you notice, I'm getting older, right? I've been doing this since really 1990, this kind of stuff. And I've been on YouTube since 2006 or something. But what I looked around is we have 5 acres out here, and we got all these buildings, and they're all full of stuff. And I got to get rid of it in case I die, or I don't want my wife to have to handle it. So I've got a 10-horse air compressor here, and I said I was going to build it, put it on the, so it runs on single phase, and then sell it on Craigslist. But I realized that we're out here in Idaho. It's not a whole big population center like Seattle, and really you don't get that much money for it. And I said, why waste the time and effort to do that and just sell it to somebody for $2,500 or $3,500 or whatever? I got the brilliant idea, why not give it to Chucky? He's got like 300,000-400,000 subscribers. And I like his videos. I really like the guy. I started watching his videos. I went all the way back to the beginning when he was a little kid, like kind of thing, pretty neat. He's grown up a lot. Anyway, look at this air compressor. A Curtis D97, 10-horse air compressor. It's got the unloader valves. It's got a 120-gallon tank, 10-horse three-phase motor. So now, what I have done is I build converter, and I don't really build them to sell them. I wrote a book. I got the book on Amazon. It's a Unique Three-Phase book. In this book, I tell you everything about running these motors on single-phase power. And I have things in here on how to make your own transformer, how to wind this, do that, the electricity and all that kind of stuff, and how to build a transformer converter, which this is. On the other side of this little box, this box is a transformer, and it runs that. Now, what I did was I got carried away when I was building this. I started adding more and more features to it. So it's a compressor. Okay, now when you turn it on, well, here's what I'll show you. I got this thing, and I got this thing. What's really annoying sometimes is, you go out to the back of your shop, you go walk all the way around back, and you turn the breaker, you turn the air compressor on. Now, when you go home at night, you got to remember, go all the way back there and turn the air compressor off again. How many times do you forget to turn it off, and then it runs all night because there's air leaks? So what I did on this was I put these things on here, so when you turn this on, oops, I got to plug it in, hold on. Let me see, okay. Now it's on. See, now it doesn't draw any electricity on this meter here, if you can see that meter there. I don't know if that'll pick that up on that camera, but anyway, there's a little transformer in there. It draws like maybe 50 watts or 10 watts, or it's probably 10 watts, something like that. A little tiny transformer to control it. So now you have this switch here. This switch turns the compressor on. And it pumps air. Now, I got the red light there, and I got 50 feet of cord. See, I made this thinking about what if I was going to use it for myself in my own shop. 50 feet of cord on that. So now you can take this cord, you can run it out, and you can put it near your door. So when you're going home at night, you go to lock up and you see the red light on, and you go, oh yeah, I get to turn the air compressor off. This can stay on all the time, and it doesn't draw any electricity. And that's the way a transformer converter works, is it really draws nothing until you turn the thing on and use it. Now this other thing, notice how it's got the unloader valves, right? So this switch controls it so you can use it on the unloader valve. So if you turn this on, and you got to turn this on too. Now it'll pump, and it'll pump up to, it'll pump up to about 135 pounds, and then it unloads, and then it turns back on at 105 pounds. So we'll let it run, and I'll fast forward that other thing. Oh, now the ampy-wampy's there. Let me see, let me get behind the camera here for a minute. I don't know if this camera would pick that stuff up. I was gonna bring another camera out here. Oh yeah, there it goes. So those are, you know, it's 240 on the left side there, that 1 meter, that's the inputs, 240 volts. Then you got 241, 27, 20, whatever it is, 8, 26, 26 or whatever that is. Now it's stone cold, the air compressor, so it always draws a little bit different when it's stone cold. As soon as it warms up, then things change a little bit. But anyway, that's not bad for what we're doing there. But watch what happens. There's the meter there, zooming that right over there. When that gets to be 135, the compressor will go into idle mode. And now here's the next thing I did. Like I said, I was getting carried away here. I fixed it so that if you're running in this mode, let's say you're sandblasting, right? Let's say you're sandblasting. So you know you got to rearrange parts, and then you get a phone call, some things happen. Well, the compressor could sit there and idle for hours and hours, or if you accidentally went home or went to lunch, you know, the compressor just idles. So what I have is a 10-minute timer in there. So the thing will idle for 10 minutes and then it shuts off, and that's pretty cool. That's that way, and if it shuts off, it won't come on again until it runs down to 105. Yeah, it comes on at 105. So it'll run down 105 pounds, then come back on. So if you did have an air leak in your shop, and you went away for the weekend, you know, every time the air leaks down, this compressor would come on, it would run for 10 minutes and then shut off until the air leaks down. Now, if it's on the other position, this position, if it's on that position, now it'll run up to 150 pounds, and then if you left it over the weekend, it would come on every time the air leaked out as the normal compressor. And it shuts off at about 150, so and like I said, oh, that's 150. See, it gets up to 150 and it shuts off anyway. But let's back this out. Now, you're probably wondering what other features could I have added to this thing, all right? Good. Here's another thing I did. Like I said, I got carried away with this thing. And I decided that because we have a transformer converter here, and what happens is the transformer converter hooks directly to the motor, runs the motor. But it's a unique thing on an air compressor is you can unload the air compressor, right, with the valves. So what I did was, just as a demonstration, and I kind of added extra feature, is I added this little plug on the side here. And I've got this, where's my plug? I put this on here. I put that on the side of the air compressor, right? So, as you know, it's kind of a cool thing anyway. But I've got this here welder over here that you can see in the camera if the camera's swung over there. You know, you can buy these welders pretty cheap. You got the welder here, you know, okay. So you buy this welder and it runs on 3-phase, and that's why you get them really cheap, because people can't use them at home. Now there is a guy on the internet, the Haas-Kamp guy, you know, and he has circuits on how to take these welders apart and put some capacitors in there and run them on single phase. But some people say it's good, some people complain a little bit, and some people, what happens is they buy the welder and they don't know if it works or not. So they do the Haas-Kamp conversion. The problem is they have no clue if the welder worked in the first place because they don't have 3-phase. So this is really a good way to test this out. So you pull this out, and now we can turn the welder on, you know, and the welder is going to run, and we can weld with it. Now it's getting dark out here, but let's see. I'll put that up to max. I'll put this up there to that. Put that there. Now I'm not a welder. You got to remember that. I'm not a welder. I got a bottle of the small bottle on the other side of that stuff. Yeah, I ran out on that big bottle there, but anyway, we'll bleed it out. Now obviously, now you're going to want to focus down here on this, and let me turn this other camera. Okay, please don't, okay. All right. Now, oh, I set this on grinder. No wonder why it's a little bright. Now we're welding about 150 amps on that. So, and I tried it on this. I set the thing, turned the thing down, and it worked fine on thinner metal and everything. So let me turn it off here. I'll turn the welder off. Okay, now focus back on me. So here's the thing. A professional welder is not going to be out there, running his air compressor 8 hours a day just to weld. But if you're building this, if you're going to build this thing, which my book shows you how to build all this kind of stuff, if you're going to build this, what I'm showing you is that this actually is a rotary converter. If you look on the internet and look up rotary converters and all the people talking about them, what you find is a lot of people will tell you, okay, you've got a 10-horse rotary. It doesn't start the thing that you wanted it to start. So what they tell you is they tell you to put a pulley. Isn't that right? I mean, guys, they tell you to take your 10-horse rotary converter and mount a big pulley on the thing so it'll give it more oomph when it goes to start. Well, here, when you look at this, look at the pulley on that. You got a nice big pulley on there. You got the big flywheel on there. You got that pulley. You got these pistons going up and down. So actually, it actually works pretty good. Now, I will say this. That's 10-horse motor. I have a 4.5 horse blower motor. I can plug it in there. I can start it, but the problem is it starts 50% of the time. And the other times, what happens is when you hit the start, it cuts in the start capacitors on this main box, and sometimes they don't cut out right. So it runs it fine if you messed with that, to make sure the start capacitors don't come in. But this is a 10-horse motor. You really shouldn't be running stuff. This is mostly the plug on here that I put on here for this thing, for the ChuckE2009 compressor, is really a demonstration of how something like that works. It's a great method to test. And if you're a weekend guy and you're just going to weld for an hour or two, here and there, it works. It's great. And the big thing is, if you're going to do the Haas-Kamp conversion, then you want to test your welder on 3-phase before you do the conversion, because once you tear into that thing and put a bunch of capacitors and change wires around, you have no clue as to whether the welder worked in the first place. And I see that on the forums where people, they do the conversion, it don't work, and they spend hours and hours and hours on there troubleshooting to find out that one of the switches in there was bad, or the contact was bad, or there was a bad connection in the thing. So anyway, so that's basically the compressor. I got it so you can have it it runs from 135 to 150 on this and shuts off. You put this switch on, and it'll just run from 105 to 135, and that's if you're doing air, sandblasting or the big, blast cabinet or whatever. You don't need it 150. You're just using that, and it's just easier on the compressor. I got the little. It shuts off if you leave this on. It shuts off in 10 minutes. It's got the welder function on there if you can weld something, and so that's pretty much it. So you can get. I was hoping to bring this down to ChuckE. Here. I was hoping to bring this down to ChuckE. Now I'm not kidding around either, because I figured in Idaho it's going to cost me about $1,000 to bring it down to him, and give it away for free. There's no obligation. All I want to do is have ChuckE make a video of us, the same like this video, and then put a link on his thingy ding, where you could buy the book off Amazon, and it'll tell you all the stuff on there. And it even tells you now another thing too, is people that have rotary converters. I built a bunch of rotary converters. I did a whole bunch of testing and it's in the book here. And actually, the rotary converter is not as bad as you think in using electricity. When I tested it, I got a real live genuine electric meter, and I hooked it up and I did all sorts of loads and all sorts of stuff. I found out a 10-horse rotary, a 20-horse rotary, and a 30-horse rotary all basically use the same wattage, same amount of money you're going to pay to the electric company for running those things. So some people, they build a 10-horse rotary. Well, you might as well go, to be honest with you, I would go for 20 or 30, because you're going to use the same amount of electricity when it's idling, and it just runs and starts everything a lot better. Anyway, that's the deal. That's the ChuckE2009 free air compressor that I just have to get a hold of him. I haven't heard back from him. Steve Cox said he'd mention it to him. Maybe he doesn't want it. If he doesn't want it, by the way, I'm looking for someone with 300,000 or 400,000 views. Obviously, I don't want somebody with 2 views, or 2 subscribers. Might as well get somebody with a lot of subscribers so they can put the link in there, and I can, sell the book on Amazon. Thank you very much for watching. I just wanted to throw this clip in here in the last part of this. It's too dark to film last night. But as I was showing you on this air compressor, it has a commercially built transformer in the back there that I purchased. Now, I show you in the book, when I held up the book and I flipped through all those pages of stuff I tell you how to do, one of the things I tell you how to do is build your own transformers. I tell you how to modify commercial transformers, and you can wind a transformer for almost any voltage or any current you want. So this vacuum cleaner, I bought this from Boeing Surplus back in 1990, super vacuum cleaner. Boeing had to convert to HEPA filter vacuums, so they got rid of these. It's been around the block a few times, as you can see. It's got a Gore-Tex filter bag, 10-horse, 3-phase motor. This is the one where I had a guy come out to the house from the electrical shop in town, and he was going to run it, and he brought out a 25-horse rotary converter. And he tried and tried and tried to get this running. He was just burning the motor out. You could smell the insulation burning. The 25-horse rotary would not get it started. It's got a 3,400 RPM motor, and it turns the turbine at about 5,000 RPM. So the load just increases as you try and get it up to speed. So the guy wanted to sell me a 50-horse rotary, and that was like, back in those days, they were really expensive, like $5 grand for that thing. So I just couldn't justify spending $5 grand to run a $100 vacuum cleaner. It doesn't make sense. And run a 50-horse motor, run a 10-horse motor. That's when I started researching about the transformer converter. So here's just a demonstration. Here's the one that's got the capacitors in the box. We got the homemade transformer there.